What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Set to and Pass, the podcast where two dads talk games, anime, and all things nerdy while trying to survive parenthood one level at a time. Tonight, we're deep diving into two things near and dear to our hearts: the games that raised us and the chaos of raising kids while trying to stay nerdy. From late nights on the N64 to sneaking in Switch time after bedtime routines, we're talking about what shaped us as gamers and how we're passing that pixelated torch to the next generation. So grab your memory cards and your sippy cups, because this episode's going to be a mashup of nostalgia, dad life hacks, and a few too many back in my day moments. Let's get into it. This is Set to and Pass. My name is Dylan, and I've got my co-host with me.
I'm Casey, and I'm ready to tell you about some old video games.
Before we get into that though, you people listening, you there on the other side of this microphone, the last video game boss that you fought was just summoned to your world. Will the Earth survive? Let us know in the comment section down below.
Just to answer it for the people at home, yes, the Earth survives. It was a crab. I swear.
Very nice. Very nice.
Honestly, though, just a little quick thing before. It almost was, honestly, kind of an army of crabs, not from the same game, because Steam sales are just great, and I almost bought another Crab's Treasure.
Okay.
I don't know. Have you've not heard about that one?
No, I haven't.
So it looks like a cutesy kind of game. Like, you play, the main character is a hermit crab. And it's a Souls-like game where you are basically just trying to get your shell back because the queen of the ocean taxed you and took your home.
Okay.
It's a really humorous game, but it is, honestly, it's a really good little Souls-like game. It's just something to pass the time.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, I gotta say, the world would be safe for me too, because the last game that I played was Army Men 3D, and unless the world is going to be destroyed by a bunch of little plastic soldiers, I think we're good.
I mean, was it Small Soldiers?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was.
Just saying, it could happen.
Well, when I say small, when I say little plastic, I mean like the little like the green and the tan ones. I don't mean Chip Hazard. No. I mean the little bucket soldiers that you saw from Toy Story.
I can't remember the last time I've ever even seen them on like a store shelf, to be honest.
Right? Whatever happened to those, man?
I honestly, that's like one of those like childhood essential toys I never thought I would see go out of style.
Them and like, I remember I had a lot of fun with those in Lincoln Logs.
I didn't have Lincoln Logs. No, I had a shit ton of Legos.
Okay.
So I mean, close enough, but yeah, like building stuff now. I mean, Legos are obviously they are still very, very popular.
Absolutely. They're so popular you see them locked up on Walmart shelves.
Yeah, for real. I don't know, like, Legos have evolved though, man. Like, I remember when I was a kid, like, going into the store to the Lego aisle, I was looking for like the Bionicles.
Oh my goodness, yeah, dude. Bionicles were so much fun. They were so cool.
Bring those back, man. Bring those times back.
Yeah, dude.
Like, I remember getting like the whole sets of them at a time, like for holidays and stuff. Like, I would get the whole little villain sets. I can't remember the names of them, but they would like fold up into a little ball.
Yeah, I remember those. And then they're like, the top of their head would lift up and the mask would sit there, and you could push the little lever on the back and its head would shoot forward.
Yes, sir. That is it right there.
I don't know why the hell I'm sitting here doing hand motions. It's not like they can see me doing the hand motions.
Just got some Ricky Bobby hands.
Yeah. Nah, dude, Bionicle was great.
Was honestly, I wish things like that would make a comeback.
Dude, my son
They're
loves
so cool.
Legos. Like, my son is obsessed with Legos.
My older two are.
Yeah.
They're always bringing me something. Like, hey, look what I made. And I'm like, I remember those days.
Just had that big old bucket of loose Legos and
Whatever happened, happened.
oh right, like that was the greatest thing for like me personally, because like I remember Walmart, they used to just sell like the tubs of loose Legos, and I used to get one of those for Christmas like every 2 or 3 years, and I would just have a blast until I didn't pick them up and they got eaten by the vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, we've all been victim to the vacuum cleaner. I think it's just like a rite of passage to owning Legos as a kid.
Absolutely. But no,
But, go ahead.
combining those, like the Lincoln Logs and the Legos, I know me and my cousin, we used to have like these great big war scenarios with the little plastic soldiers. So we'd build like buildings and stuff, and we'd hide the little tan soldiers, and we would pretend to be the little green soldiers, and we'd have to like walk through the blown up village of Legoland, and it was just so much fun. Like using our imagination back then was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like my cousins and I, whenever I still like heavily played with toys, we were really big into the Transformers Armada series.
Oh my god, I loved Armada.
So, Armada was so great. I was lucky enough, I had the Unicron toy.
That is awesome.
That thing was such a pain in the ass to transform though.
I bet, just because of how big it was.
I'm telling you, it took like a good couple minutes to fully transform it.
I loved the mini-cons from that series.
That's what I thought that was the coolest part about the whole series.
Absolutely. And then like how you could like fuse that. Well, I guess you could fuse two of them together, and that was Jetfire and Optimus. But still, like that shit was so cool.
And I mean, it was basically like I knew what Transformers were beforehand, but it's like the mini cons. It was like, for me as a kid, it was almost like watching Goku go Super Saiyan. You know what I mean? Because like, all right, there's Optimus Prime, but then here comes this mini con, attaches to him, and now he's even more badass. Like, what? Excuse you? That was another one I had as a kid. I had Optimus Prime with like in the trailer from the semi, it would fold out into this like giant battle station.
I remember that too.
So cool. So cool.
No, I remember. I remember Hot Rod was my favorite because instead of Bumblebee, they had Hot Rod as the as like the yellow bug, and I don't know. I think he was the first one that I got, and then you got the Minicon, and it unlocked the rocket launcher on his back.
Yes,
and that was just too cool. And then I remember I got Jetfire because Jetfire was one of my favorite villains.
Jetfire,
or not Jetfire, not Starscream. Starscream, that's who it was. Yeah, Starscream, villain. Yeah, villain.
I would honestly say Starscream is probably my favorite Decepticon of all time.
I love Megatron. Like, I really, really do.
Like, I can't remember. I don't think Ironhide was in Armada at all.
I don't remember him, but then again, it has been so long since I've watched Armada.
Same.
It's on YouTube.
I can't even remember I can't remember. I know he transformed into like a white like sports car.
Who?
My favorite character from Armada.
No. Yeah, no.
I cannot remember his name. I'd have to look him up, but just
Things just
don't
too
get
cool.
I wish it was so cool.
Oh, apparently it's on Tubi and Pluto TV.
Well, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Sponsorship, come on, Pluto and Tubi.
Come on, I'll tell you guys everything that is on them platforms. Trust me. And we'll be the TV guide channel for Tubi and Pluto.
There you go. We'll just have a constant scrolling thing there on the side.
Yeah, bringing it back old school.
Go to this channel and just watch it scroll.
Right?
And hope you don't miss it.
Exactly. But just like these titles that we're about to talk about, that all these fine folk are not going to want to miss out on. Because as Dylan did mention earlier, we are going to talk about the games that raised us.
Right. So, tonight we're cracking open the save files of our childhoods and diving into games that shaped us. Those pixelated babysitters, those 3 a.m. grinding sessions, those blow on the cartridge kind of classics. Whether it was button mashing with your cousins or getting emotionally wrecked by a PS2 cutscene. We're talking about the games that didn't just entertain us, they raised us. This is Games That Raised Us. Press start for the nostalgia. Now, I normally don't do scripts, so reading a script that I write is ridiculous to me because I hate the way that I sound when I read things.
Dude, I feel the same a lot of times. I don't like to read out loud.
Oh, absolutely not. Especially if it's stuff that I've written, because then it's just like, boy, this sounds dumb as I'm reading it.
Just critiquing yourself,
Oh, absolutely.
Well, I guess we'll start this. I think we talked about doing a top 3 before, but because of honestly the legendary status of how these lists stack up with us individually, I think it's worth doing a top 5.
Ooh, top 5.
I do think it's worth a top 5.
So 5 of the most formative games from our childhood. Oh boy.
Honestly, I can already have my 5 whipped up.
Well, why don't we do one at a time?
We can do that.
You do your first one, and then I'll do one, and then we'll take it from there.
I'm going to start from the bottom of my list.
Okay.
This was a game, it wasn't like a short-lived thing, but it wasn't like one of the like record-breaking like amount of time spent on a game for me.
Okay.
But at number 5, I'm gonna have to put Burnout Paradise.
Okay.
Back in the PS3 days, online play was still fresh. It was new. It was actually the first game I made an online friend.
Oh.
Me and some kid, we were in an online lobby just running races, trying to complete stuff. And he actually ended up giving me his login information so I could download the DLC.
Okay.
But that game, and I still say this, for the time that it came out, it was way ahead of its time. It was Criterion's first crack at an open world game, and especially with a racing game. And with the Burnout crash mechanics, everything. When you hit something in that game and it said you wrecked, it was so graphic. Your car's literally in detail crumpled like a beer can.
Damn.
And it just, the attention to detail was so good. But, you know, at the end of the day, it still had that super arcadey racing game feel.
Okay.
You know, the amount of cars, the selection was great. I really loved how, you know, they implemented different types of races. Like, you know, there was just regular races from point A to point B. There are road rage races where, you know, you have to essentially, before the timer runs out, wreck a certain number of other racers.
Sounds violent.
Yes, yes. It's actually funny because there's 3 classes of car. So, and they all pertain to how you earn your boost within the game. So you have your speed class where you can only use your boost if your gauge is like full.
Okay.
And it's a lot of driving really fast, near misses, that kind of stuff. You have your stunt class, which you get boost from just like drifting, doing jumps, you know, that kind of stuff. But then there's an aggression class too, where you get boost for rear-ending somebody.
Okay.
So, you know, it was such a good game. It was a beautiful game to look at too. You know, the map was huge and it had such a wide variety of, you know, like you know, you could go from the city to the mountains to the countryside to like, you know, a beachy kind of area. Just definitely in my top 5. I still play it to this day when I'm bored.
Nice.
So, what's your number 5, my man?
All right. So I don't normally play a whole lot of racing games. That's just never been my forte. But there was one racing game that me and my cousins used to play religiously when I went over to their houses. Because my cousin Brandon and Trisha, their parents and our grandparents were huge NASCAR fans. So, of course, they were NASCAR fans.
NASCAR.
So we had a lot of NASCAR games. And there was one NASCAR game for the PS1 that I absolutely fell in love with. Now that I'm older, I look at this game and I'm literally thinking, this is literally Mario Kart, but with a NASCAR skin slapped on it. And this was a game called NASCAR Rumble. So with this one here, you could pick from any racer at the time. You could even pick trucks. You could pick souped up cars once you unlocked them and what have you. And you would race. However, when you would race, you would also unlock weapons and stuff. Like, I remember one specifically because it was a super, super short track, and my cousins hated it. Well, everyone hated it when anyone unlocked it. But it was a tornado that you would just shoot out in front of you, and it would swoop up everyone's car, and it would go around the racetrack like 3 times. And there was one racetrack that was a super short racetrack, so you hit that tornado, and you get picked up 3 times before you do a full lap. So it was really, really annoying.
It sounds like it.
It was so much fun though. Like we spent so many hours playing this game, and we just had a blast.
So what you're saying is this was where Rocket League got their inspiration for Rumble.
I have no idea because I don't play Rocket League, so I don't know what Rumble is for Rocket League.
It's a mode where you get like wacky power-ups, and there is like a tornado one too.
Okay. Maybe? Possibly?
It's just honest. Just really, as soon as you said about it, it made me think of it.
But yeah, no. So NASCAR Rumble, that was definitely one of those games that I loved. Like, we spent so much time playing this game. I mean, if it was too hot out one day, we'd spend hours playing this game. Like, that's where we first learned how to make pizza bites. That's where we learned how to make pizza bagels, because we only had 2 controllers, because it was PS1. So whenever whoever wasn't playing would normally go out to the kitchen, make some snacks, whatever, bring them in. And then by the time the race was over, we needed more snacks. So that meant that the person who was getting off went and made more snacks. But no, yeah. So I'd say my number 5, just because it was a tie between Tetris Plus and NASCAR Rumble, but I think I had more fun playing NASCAR Rumble.
Yeah, I've never, like, I had a couple NASCAR games for PlayStation 1, but I never heard of that one until right now.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, it was great fun, especially when how you could like customize your cars and whatnot. Like, you could make the like you could alter. I remember you could change the hood of the car so that way you have a hot rod engine poking out of it. You get, of course, you get your boosters and whatnot. And you could like turn your boosters on while you're drifting around a corner to make you go around the corner real quick, or the just or not hundreds, but there was a handful of power ups that you could get, and I don't know, man. It was just one of those games that was great fun.
Oh, dude, no, that sounds like an awesome time, honestly.
It was so much fun. Back when EA was great.
Yeah, for sure. EA Sports.
It's in the game. Absolutely, man. Now they're just like EA Sports. Pay us money.
Exactly. And all they do is make the same sports game reskinned every year.
Hey, EA, if you want to sponsor us, we won't shit talk you.
Yeah, for real. I'm not gonna lie, you can take my voice clip right there as an audition.
All right, number 4.
Number 4 for me is honestly, it's another racing game, but this is a kart racer.
Oh.
I have to put Crash Team Racing in here.
Nothing wrong there.
When that game came out, because, I had friends that had Nintendo, they had Mario Kart, so I was missing out, but then this hit, and I was right where I needed to be. So, I nerded out on that game so hard when I was a kid. I had almost everything done on that game that you could possibly have done. Like, I had all the extra characters unlocked, all the time trials, and honestly, it was a really good kart. It was a good competition for Mario Kart, I think. Like, it's a severely underrated game. I really wish that Toys for Bob would actually put the remastered one on PC.
I'm kind of surprised that Sony didn't do like their own Sony kart racer to have like Crash Bandicoot and the dude from Uncharted and Spyro and all those kind of characters, because I mean they do have quite a few.
Yeah, they really do. Now, I mean, they have tried a couple. Well, at least, actually, no. The only one that I can really think of past Crash Team Racing would be that Jack X combat racing they did.
Mm-hmm.
But I never really heard anything good about it.
No. Like I think the only PlayStation game that I heard of that tried to like mix and mash all their characters was PlayStation All-Stars.
Okay.
And that was a fighting game. I think it was PlayStation All-Stars.
That's interesting. That's very interesting.
Yeah, I think that's what it was called, was PlayStation All-Stars. Yeah, but, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale.
Oh. Well, damn. I'm going to have to check that out. That actually sounds kind of fun, to be honest.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't good, but...
Hey, sometimes those games are just easy to pass time with.
Absolutely.
I can appreciate them. But for real, though, I passed a lot of time with Crash Team Racing.
Crash was just such a fun game, and then you add that extra aspect of racing in it, and what's not to love?
And the advertisements for that game, like, specifically were so great.
They were pretty good.
I, it was just, you know, it was just such a fun game.
Yeah, it was. Like, who didn't want to play as Vortex?
Honestly, I wanted my favorite character, and luckily I got to unlock him. Dude, I was a Ripperoo guy.
Were you?
Dude, I thought that guy was. I still think that guy is hilarious.
That's awesome. No, it was like it was a fun game. Absolutely.
Definitely a fun game. You know, Sony, Naughty Dog, actually, I guess Toys for Bob now, just make another one. Like, come on. Like, don't even, like, because even with the remake, they did add a bunch of the tracks from the other ones. Because they did make 2 other Crash Racing games. They had the Nitro Kart for PS2, which is, it was still good too.
Okay.
It wasn't bad. I can't knock it too much. But I'm on the fence about Crash Tag Team Racing.
Okay. I remember Crash Tag Team Racing, yeah.
It was that weird one where, like, you know, half the game was racing, but half of it was spent, like, in that amusement park type deal. Which I think is a really cool aspect. It's just, I don't know. I haven't played the game enough to actually, I feel like, give it a good critique.
Okay.
But, so, Crash Team Racing's my number 4, near and dear to me. What you got for us?
All right. So number 4 is probably the second most played game that I've ever played. Like, I think I have more hours in this game, or number 4, yeah. Number 4 has probably the second most amount of my time put into it, just because I remember as soon as I found out about it in middle school, that's when I started playing. And that's when that's when me and my friends started playing hot and heavy. This was the first online game that I think I really truly got into, because I remember playing some online games for my PS2 when I was with my cousins, and that was Soulcom, but that's definitely not going to make this list. So this is like my introduction to the world of MMORPGs, and that's RuneScape. So I started playing RuneScape just at the tail end of RS Classic. So they were just coming out with RS2, or as people know it now, old school RuneScape. So I came in right before old school or RuneScape 2 came out. I remember watching an older kid in our or it wasn't even our class. I think it was a grade or 2 ahead of us. We were watching him play it. He told us about it. And as soon as we saw it, I don't know why, like, I think one of us looked up at the website bar and we saw that it said RuneScape. We assumed that it said Runescape. I don't know why. We just couldn't English yet, I guess, correctly. So that's when we started. That was a big thing that we played, and I remember we'd play it in school. Like, we'd get into the computer lab and we'd get our work done, and we'd play RuneScape. If we had a study hall, we'd all see if we can get on a computer and we'd play RuneScape. We'd get home, we'd call each other on the telephone, because this is just after dial-up, so we could talk to each other while playing online. And we'd play RuneScape. And so it was one of those things that, like, it was another hangout for us, instead of hanging out in person, because each of us lived in, like, a different part of town, or maybe it was raining, or maybe the weather was bad, or maybe we just didn't want to go outside that day. So we'd call each other on the phone and we'd play RuneScape. So RuneScape is number 4 for me, because I remember I spent many of hours in front of the family's computer, even though now I do have video footage of RuneScape from my old family computer, and it is bad. Like, if you saw, like, I'll send you the link, or I'll rip this here and I'll make a clip out of it. But like, it is bad. Like how bad my computer was, like that, because we didn't have a good computer growing up. Like, we could get email, we could watch YouTube sometimes, and then I'm sitting here trying to play an MMORPG, and it is going at like 2 frames a second, maybe.
Poor computer was probably overheating like a sumbitch, trying to manage all of it.
Sounded like a lawnmower. It is bad. But yeah, so my number 4 spot, gotta go to Jagex, gotta go to RuneScape, because again, I spent many of hours on RuneScape. Number 3.
Fair enough. So number 3, this was honestly a very, very close toss-up. I'm still gonna honorably mention the other choice, but number 3 for me is gonna be Ratchet and Clank.
Okay.
Specifically, I gotta list the whole series because I replayed all of them as a kid so many times. It's like, I mean, the first one, going commando, up your arsenal, deadlocked, like, just fantastic games. Now, this was tied with Jak and Daxter. I spent a lot of time playing both series. Honestly, as a kid at that age, you know, even with the other game that is actually on this list that I was pretty heavily tied into, it was one of the games that really sowed the seed for really liking an in-depth story. Because while like Ratchet and Clank specifically, you know, it was a cartoony, you know, kind of more laid back and laughable title. You know, it was supposed to be funny, and it was hilarious. But it's still, you know, you got all the information you needed for that story in that entry of the game.
Yeah.
And, you know, that led me into really liking the diverse gameplay and, you know, good storytelling. So, I gotta hand it to Ratchet and Clank, man. Spent hours and hours and hours, and honestly, I would still do it.
That's awesome.
So, at number 3 for Dylan is going to be...
Alright, so for number 3, it was a little bit hard because there's so many versions of there's so many renditions of this game, so I guess I'm just gonna pick my favorite version of the games. And so this is gonna go for WWE, the SmackDown versus Raw series. So the SmackDown versus Raw games, I don't remember how many of them there were, but I know that there was like 06, 07, and I think it went all the way up to like 12 or maybe 11, I don't remember. And then they just started going on, and no, it went up to 11, yeah, so it went up to 11, and then it just started doing the WWE 2K, whatever. So, for me personally, the SmackDown vs. Raw games were the best versions of the game. Now, a lot of people maybe not agree. Like, a lot of people are probably going to go old school. They're going to probably say, like, just bring it or bring the pain or something like that. But the SmackDown vs. Raw games, for me, I love them the most because of the variety of game modes that came with them. So, like, GM mode and... of course, your standard versus mode, and then you had like I think most of the games had a story mode, and then you had like the WrestleMania moments and stuff like that. But for me, it was a lot of times it was the the GM mode, or where you could, especially with so I think it was '08. Yeah, I think it was SmackDown versus Raw 2008, where they introduced ECW, so you could choose SmackDown, Raw, or ECW, and then you could become that general manager and build your show up and compete against the other shows and blah 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 blah. I loved that growing up because I was a huge WWE fan growing up. I just was. And I remember when I moved to New York, me and my cousin Zach, we would play the high holy crap out of these games. So we'd build our own characters, we'd go out for the titles, we'd make up our own stories, and it was just great fun. It was one of those games that really, we just really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun for the PS2, and I think I had a lot of really good wrestling memories with these games. So yeah, so number 3 for me is the SmackDown versus Raw era for the WWE video games. Number 2.
Ooh. Number 2. Especially after that one is it's kind of funny because we're definitely on the same page, just different series. I have to put the Tekken series at number 2 for me.
Okay.
Specifically 3. First one I had, PS1. I played that game so much. It was really because of my stepdad. So he would just not let me play it first, basically, you know what I mean? And I got really tired of it, so I would just stay up late at night and play the shit out of that game.
Okay.
And I had 2 characters on that game as a kid nailed down pretty good. And I still play this character actually on Tekken 8. And most people will probably hate me saying this, but I am a Hwoarang main.
Okay.
Or Hwoarang main. Been it since 3 and not ashamed of it. But the other character, and this is the only time he's ever been in, there was a little dinosaur named Gon.
Okay.
And he was out of some anime, manga or something like that. I don't know too many details on him, but I remember my stepdad, he was trying his bullshit. He liked to play Paul.
Okay.
Well, this little dinosaur had a fart attack. And it would just puke fire at you. And I just would he would literally run up on me about to do a combo, and I would just fart and his character would fall down. And then I would just spin and tail whip him to death until he got mad and quit playing that game with me altogether.
That's awesome.
So that's what started it, but I have to absolutely give my love for fighting games like that. I love my side-by-side fighters. And while I may not be very good, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh yeah, just because I've played them since 90 couple, whenever that one came out. I enjoy the games. I enjoy the characters. Story is the story. If you know Tekken at all, you know exactly what I mean.
Oh yeah.
It's either just somebody's just being a bigger prick with devil powers, or Street Fighter's coming in here to save the day. I don't know. No, Tekken Forever is just my favorite fighting series.
I'm pretty much the same there. Like, I enjoy the games. They're a lot of fun. I can play the computer till my fingers fall off. But as soon as you put me up against other people, it's like, no. It's like, I'm not good.
Like, when Tekken 8 first came out, I told myself I was going to take it seriously and actually try to get good. I got okay. I got okay at the game. Like, I was up there a little bit in the green ranks, the green ranks. Past the green ranks in ranked. So like I said, I'm not great, but I can get on there and have some fun still.
Right, absolutely.
Do some funny stuff.
I remember we got one of the Tekken games for our PS4, and I think it was Tekken 7 we got, because my kids really, really wanted it, and they thought it was super cool, so I was like, alright, we got it. And, of course, my boys being the boys that they are, they instantly had to get super competitive with it. And they're like, yeah, we could beat you up, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay. And so we played, and then I beat them, and they'd be like, you just got lucky. And I was just like, or maybe it's because I'm better than you. And so, like...
That's... They're real gamers, dude, because that is never the issue. Nobody's ever better than you, dude. Trust me.
Yeah. So it was one of those things where I had to become like the big bad final boss of the house, and they would pick all these random characters, and I'd be like, I'm just gonna stick with Kuma, and I'm gonna hit you with this fish.
See, I on Tekken 8 specifically, my oldest, he's played with me, and he'll just get to the point where I'll be like, dude, all right, now you pick my character then. You're gonna get the same results, except for maybe like twice.
Nope. I can't beat many people at fighting games, but I can apparently beat my children at fighting games.
Right?
But there will come a day where they will beat their old man, and they'll never let me live it down.
Yep. That's exactly how it's gonna go too. I dread that day, honestly.
Oh yeah, it's coming. I can feel it. All these new games. Like, I remember my oldest was up here, and he was like, "Want to play some Call of Duty?" I was like, "I haven't played Call of Duty in years." He's like, "Why? You afraid you're gonna lose?" I was like, "No, I'm just letting you know I haven't played Call of Duty in a couple of years." So we boot up the original Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Well, not the original. It was the remastered for the PS4. And the only map...
Close enough.
Yeah, right? And the only map that we had on it was Bog. And I was like, alright. So that's... whatever. So we're sitting there playing.
Dad, I joined in.
Oh, yeah?
I joined in.
Okay. Sorry, my son wanted to tell me something, but I have no idea what he said.
This just in.
Yeah, right? This just in. Midnight, and he refuses to stay in his room. Anywho, so he wants to play me because he's been playing a lot of the newest one. Whatever the hell the newest one is. Black Ops 6, I think, is the newest one, and he's been playing it, and...
It is.
So we're sitting there, and we're playing the original one. He's like, how come I can't, like, double jump or slide and stuff? I was like, because that shit didn't work here. And so we're playing, and I get the first couple of kills, and he's like, why are you doing, like, he was like, I thought you said you didn't play this. I was like, I haven't ped this in a while, but I still know how to make my classes and stuff, and I was one of those people who loved NoobTube, because it was just fun.
Man of culture.
And of course, I know the spawns on the map, so we instantly start, flick it over to NoobTube, launch it across the map, and blow him up. He's like, "You're screen peeking," and I was like, "How am I screen peeking?" I think that match ended 22-3. And I was like, I haven't played this game in forever, because I haven't played my PS4 in a minute. And he just randomly wanted to play Call of Duty. He's like, you should download Black Ops 6 and I'll wreck you. I was like, yeah, probably, but this isn't Black Ops 6 now, is it?
No, it's definitely, let me tell you, dude. Call of Duty is not what it used to be. Now it's all just like, who can spend the most money on a skin?
That's so dumb.
Dude, I don't know how people like fall for that shit.
Yeah, considering Call of Duty, it's literally just a copy and paste every single new game.
It is.
It's like, don't you guys get bored playing the same game? I mean, this is coming from a Pokemon fan. Don't you guys get bored playing the same game every time?
Right? I mean, dude, that hurts to really actually come to terms with, but you're right.
All right. So my number 2, now that I've trying to railroad this railroad, again, like my number 3, there's just so many of this particular title that I had to just kind of like put them all into a pile and pick which one I liked the best out of them. Just because I enjoyed them all. So speaking of Pokemon, we're gonna go Pokemon Soul Silver, because out of all the Pokemon games that I've played throughout my lifetime, which is all of them, Soul Silver to me, I don't know if it was because it was, I think it was the last Pokemon game that my parents bought me. And then ever since then, like, I just, bought my own stuff. But they got it for me because I was getting ready to go on my senior trip, and we just happened to be in Walmart. I saw it. They saw me pull up my wallet, and they're like, "Now we'll get it for you." And I was like, "Okay."
That's what's up, though.
Right? So I got to bring that with me to Florida when we went to our senior trip to Disney. And it came with a little Pokewalker. And I still have my Pokewalker in my desk. And I gotta say, like, Pokemon Soul Silver is still my favorite Pokemon game that I've ever played. I think Pokemon Soul Silver was I don't want to say it was my introduction to competitive play, because I think that was Diamond and Pearl. No, Diamond and Pearl, I'm pretty sure. Well, in the broader area, because I remember with my Game Boy SP, I used to play a lot of Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald at like local game shops and stuff. So I don't know if you'd still consider that competitive play or not. Because if you're gonna consider that competitive play, that I've been playing competitive Pokemon since Red, Blue, and Yellow, with the link cables and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm not honestly really sure if it would be. I mean, I don't really see too much of a difference, for being honest.
Yeah, I just remember being super little and, competing with people at school and at the nerd stores and whatnot, and we had like little town tournaments and stuff we had a video rental store, which they also did game rentals and stuff, and we'd have like little tournaments and whatnot where I think the winner would get like a free movie rental or a free game rental or whatnot. And so that was a lot of fun. But no, so Pokemon as a whole, it's been with me my entire life, basically. And out of all the games, I figured that I'd pick Soul Silver because I think that was one that I enjoyed the most. The Pokewalker was a huge thing with me because I loved it. I thought that was such a neat concept. And yeah, so Soul Silver, Pokemon Soul Silver is my number 2.
Well, I mean, it's definitely a legendary game.
Mm-hmm.
I've personally never played it. I have played the OG Generation 2.
Okay.
But I have heard that Soul Silver and Heart Gold are honestly 2 of the best Pokemon games ever made.
I like to think so.
I mean, people still say it to this day, so it's got to hold some kind of truth.
Right.
So I guess we're on to
number 1.
Number one for me is another one I'm going to say. It's a series as an entirety. But I will tell you my favorite out of the entire series. My favorite of all time. Kingdom Hearts. Specifically Kingdom Hearts 2. Dude, I never thought I would base what is my favorite video game of all time off of an intro song in the advertisement.
Yeah.
I heard Simple and Clean and I had to have the game. There was no question about it. Like, I'll be completely honest, I had no idea what was going on in that advertisement. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, oh, there's some Disney characters. This song is like, this is a banger.
And it was, too.
It still is.
Absolutely.
But, no, man, I still frequently play these games.
Nothing wrong with
like
that.
They are, like, I mean, I have every single one of them on the computer.
Nice.
So, like, when I just want to play a game, but, like, I don't know what I want to play, or I don't really want to play anything in particular, it straight to Kingdom Hearts, and I'm just having a good time. Any of them, too. Maybe not so much Chain of Memories. I know that I am an avid connoisseur of TCG banter, but that was the worst card game I've ever played in my life. As a joke. Now, the story on that game was really, really, really cool. And honestly, that's what got me with that whole series. The lore in that game is so vast. The story is just, it's confusing, but it's a good kind of confusing, because it keeps you digging for answers. Like, it really gives you something to dig your heels into and, like, really learn the characters and why you were here. The people that they talk about, you get so much information out of the stuff that you pick up in the game, like from Ansem's reports. You could honestly you could probably spend years trying to understand that game. And I don't think anybody ever fully will, just because of how that game has evolved over the years. Like, we went from a kid on an island that just got this random giant key that was beating up shadows to being, like, essential to saving the entire verse multiple times over. So, but also with that being said, I said it earlier too, the story-driven games are what really took me, and that was what solidified it for me, that RPGs, good rich stories are really the type of game that I enjoy the most. And I'm so thankful that the game was created, because it really just got me hooked on games and made me really want to be better at video games as a kid, you know what I mean? Because a lot of stuff was harder then.
Yeah, it was. fucking randomly stumbling upon the Sephiroth fight because you didn't know what the question mark cup was in the original Kingdom Hearts.
Dude. and then you just hear Sephiroth. And you're like, what?
Yeah,
who's that?
And then you're me, and it's just like, who the hell's this guy? Because I did not play 7 at that point in time.
Same. I was just like, oh, this dude looks really cool, and then like 3 hits later,
oh, I'm dead.
yeah. Oh, you want me to continue or load game? Nice.
I think my first question when I accidentally hit that was, where's my team? Where's Donald and Goofy at?
Right.
Why aren't they here?
Not that Donald's gonna heal you anyway.
Right. Goofy heals you though. As long as you give him potions.
Yeah, as long as he has plenty of items, he will keep you in good spirits.
Right. Now, I think that's what kept me as a PlayStation fan this entire time. I've always preferred a single player story-driven game. Like, I don't know, because it seems like as soon as Xbox came out, they were all about the online multiplayer. Don't get me wrong, like they've got Fable and stuff like that, but I think they were mostly focused on like the online multiplayer, like Halo and Gears of War and Call of Duty and blah 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 blah. I don't know, the single player story driven games. It seems like PlayStation has always had the ones that I wanted to play. So that's where I first played Kingdom Hearts. That's where I played Final Fantasy X. That's where I played Horizon Zero Dawn. You know, all that jazz.
To be fair, that's, in my opinion, always been PlayStation's appeal. In the market, if you want a great, just single-player, story-rich experience, go to a PlayStation exclusive and you'll get it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Xbox, you know, they were the ones that have really pushed the online stuff. You know, I think that's just always been their thing. You know, you know, if you want a good online, and I'm not saying you don't get a good online experience from PlayStation either, but Xbox, that's just their focus.
Yeah.
They want the online communities and stuff, and I mean, realistically, I mean, they've both been doing it about the same amount of time, because like, do you remember back whenever like PlayStation had the social hub on PS3?
Yeah, where you'd make your little avatar.
Yeah, and you just walk around random places.
Yeah, I do remember that.
And I never really understood the point, because you really couldn't do anything.
Yeah, right. Just walking around, and then you meet some of those weirdos on there, and they're just like, "Hey, click this link."
Oh my god! Oh my god!
It's like, no.
There was way too much of that.
Yeah.
Way too much of that.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so sir, the folks at home are waiting for your number one.
All right. So for those of you who know me, or those of you who have known me in the past 30 some odd years, so anytime within there, and if we've ever talked games, you've probably already guessed what my number one is. If you haven't, that's okay, because I will tell you. Again, there's a whole franchise, but I'm only going to pick one game, because I don't even consider this one game to really be a key part of that franchise. And that's Final Fantasy Tactics. Final Fantasy Tactics was one of those games that I grew up and I instantly fell in love with it, because I was able to bring my entire family group into it. It was that game where I was able to turn a single player game into a 5-player game. And to me, that was the coolest thing in the world, because I have a lot of cousins, most of us like to play games, and it was kind of hard to find a game where we could all play together. And that was one of those games that just did it for us. And then as I got older, I started to actually follow the story a little bit and appreciate the story of the game itself. And I loved it. Like, I absolutely love the Zodiac Tale story. I absolutely love hearing more about the War of the Lions. Just a little bit of details that you get just from doing side quests. Like, hell, people like Final Fantasy VII. In the original Final Fantasy Tactics, Cloud was an obtainable character. Like, they brought him into the game where you could have him on your team. Granted, he started off as this super weak, pathetic thing, but as you leveled him up, he got okay. Beowulf eventually became a playable character, and I think he was in War of the Lions, and I think he replaced Cloud. Aerolith was in the game. She wasn't playable, but she was there, and that's how you started Cloud's whole story. So Final Fantasy Tactics, whether it's the character design, because I absolutely love the art style, like that kind of the kind of art style that you could see on the card. Oh, and there was apparently once upon a time there was trading cards for the game as well. I didn't know that until just recently, and now I'm literally on the hunt for them, but I don't really want to break my wallet trying to get them because they are stupidly expensive. But no, just
collector's item.
Yeah, absolutely. They used to have little toys, like they used to have action figures for them. I never knew about it, and they came stateside, and I never knew about it because the game came out a couple years ago. I think it was like 97. So yeah, a couple years ago. So Final Fantasy Tactics, I think I have more game time, more active play time on Final Fantasy Tactics over the... I think I've played the game a couple dozen times. But out of those couple dozen times, I think I've put more hours into that one game than I have on any other game. And that's including Pokemon. Like, I mean, I played Pokemon longer than I played Final Fantasy Tactics. But I think for Final Fantasy Tactics, I've put more time and effort into it than I have even when I was playing competitive Pokemon. Because with Final Fantasy Tactics, like... It's fun to try to challenge yourself. So you try to do, like, you can only choose one class throughout, or one, they call it a job. And this one here, you can only choose one job throughout the entire game. Or recently, I tried to do what I call a Pokemon run on the game, because you can recruit monsters to be on your team, and then you can build a team full of monsters. So there's just so much versatility when it comes to Final Fantasy Tactics that makes this simple PS1 one-disc game, by the way. It's not like 7 or Legend of the Dragoon or anything like that where it's multiple discs. Just one disc. So that was great. And they just put so much story and lore and fun into this game, where here it is now almost 30 years later, and I'm still playing it on my PS1.
Well, I mean, you gotta play it the right way.
Yeah, or just every other way.
I mean,
you gotta find the right way.
As long as sometimes that is honestly an adventure in itself.
Absolutely.
I personally, I've never played Tactics, but I've always heard great things about it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Final Fantasy, though, it's hard. You know, I can't think of too many Final Fantasy games that are actually like notably like, ew.
Yeah.
So, definitely cool to hear, though, too, you know, that there are games from back then that were that good that they still hold their value today.
Absolutely. I think it's great that we turned this one part of this one topic into an hour-long video or into an hour-long podcast, and there were still 3 more topics on this one topic.
Oh my.
Yeah, there were still 3 more bullet points to go through, but then we started reminiscing about our back in my day games.
87 years ago.
100 consoles ago.
Right. Feels like it.
Yeah, it does. That it does.
What were the other? Which ones didn't we cover?
All right. So the other bullets that we had for the games that raised this topic was the deep dives into older games that still hold up, which I guess we kind of did. We did that with a couple of them. Retro versus remake. Do you prefer remakes or retros? Or do you think a remake still captures that spirit of the original game? Like when they revamp it completely and throw all the new bells and whistles, like, for example, with Final Fantasy VII. Does the remake still hold that same spirit of the game that the original did when you first booted it up?
No.
Really?
So my take on the way a remake or anything like that should be done, while Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Remake, they're fantastic titles. They are fantastic titles, but this is, so it's kind of weird to say it like this, but the remakes in Final Fantasy VII's case, they are exactly what we like kind of fantasized about back in the day.
Okay.
The what if, or how far do you think they're going to take this? Like, hits it to a T. But it's not the same game. You know, I mean, like I said, the story is still great. It still captures the story well. So, you know, no complaints there, but, you know, we went from turn-based combat to active combat that, you know, you hot swap between characters. So while it is still essentially, you know, it's still the same game, it's not the same game, if that makes sense.
Right. No, that does.
Now, in my opinion, Kingdom Hearts, again, the way they have done the HD collections, they're all still the same game. Now, I will say, you know, they have cleaned up the graphics, so, you know, stuff isn't as fuzzy, but it still looks like it did on the PlayStation 2.
Right, they didn't go in and change key details or change an entire battle system.
Exactly. No, they just added things to the original IP. Like Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix, for example, we got the Cave of Remembrance. We got, you know, all the data battles. There was a few other key little details, but, you know, they just literally just said, oh, hey, you know, we can give you a little more here. Just something a little more to chew on. That's that to me, that is how a remake or remaster should be.
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, that's what I get more excited for. And like I said, the way they did Final Fantasy VII, I'd play it again. It was fantastic. It was great. I mean, knocked it right out of the park. It's just, it's still not the original.
Do you think it would have been better if they would have given you the option to go back to turn-based combat instead of active combat?
Absolutely.
I think that would be such a cool feature for them to implement with most Final Fantasy games, especially because what is it? Ever since 10.2, no, after 10.2, so 13, I think, is when they really started to implement the active combat.
Yep.
If they would put it in the game to give the players the option to switch between active or turn-based, I think that would make so many more of their fans happy, because that's a big argument that I see when I'm doom scrolling and stuff, is people complaining that they don't like active combat, that they want turn-based, or they don't like turn-based, so they prefer active. Why doesn't Square just give them the option to switch between the two?
I was going to say, I mean, it really cannot be that difficult to just add turn-based.
It doesn't seem like it should be. I mean, if anything, it seems like it would save you some time, too, because then you don't have to worry about all of the extra animations and whatnot.
Oh, right, exactly. They're turn-based, other than, like, some special attacks and, things like that. The turn-based combat systems, when you just hit attack, it was just really simple. Just ran over, smack, ran back.
Mm-hmm.
So I am honestly all for that idea. Because there are some people, and like, for people like us that are dads, being able just to literally set the controller down because it's turn-based combat, beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Just sit there and you'll see the guys like bouncing on their, or like just slowly bouncing or slowly waving their sword around in that same pose for infinite amount of time until you pick that controller back up. Or maybe they do like a panorama, like the camera circles around, or whatever. At least you didn't have to worry about dying.
Exactly. I could just go on about my day.
Yeah. It's like, I need to go change laundry over, whatever, and I don't want to put my whole system in rest mode. Just go ahead and put the controller down, go do what you need to do, come back and pick it right up where you were.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, I enjoy both. I do too. I think the last Final Fantasy game that I played was, 15, I think, with Noct.
Yep, that's 15.
Yeah, so I think that was the last one. And that was the first time that I played a Final Fantasy game with active combat. So I thought that was pretty neat. Did I miss the turn-based? Yeah, I did, because I think the last Final Fantasy game that I played was 10 before that. So, like...
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't played that many Final Fantasy games. I've played 10, 15, and then the Tactics series. I tried to get into 7.
I'm there with you.
I tried to get into 7. I really did. I just... No.
It's not for everybody.
Oh, I lied. I played the first one, too.
So, Kingdom Hearts is why I fell into Final Fantasy. All the characters. And, once you start seeing characters like Cloud and Sephiroth and even...
Squall.
As he's known in Kingdom Hearts, just Leon. But, you start seeing all these characters and it's like, oh, well, where are these guys from? Like, they're really cool. And then I fall into a rabbit hole where I have to know it. And it stems from there. Now, like I said, I've only played a few Final Fantasies myself. I've played 10. I've played 7. I actually have plans to start 8. I've played 13, a little bit of 10 too, a little bit of 15. But yeah, other than that, I really haven't played very many other ones. I've played Dissidia too.
Okay.
So, I'm not the most versed in Final Fantasy, but
one thing that I do
I think
really, really enjoy is the lore.
Yes.
I love watching or listening to lore videos based on the Final Fantasy series. Oh, wait, I lied. I played another one where you play as the main bad guy from the first game. I don't remember what the hell that one's called. Where you play as Garland. I can't remember what the hell it was called, but it was free on PSN, and I remember I played that. That was fun. But no, there's just so much interesting lore to the Final Fantasy games, to the point
there really is.
where I'll just put that, like, they have multiple hour-long videos on YouTube and stuff that I'll put on for background noise, and I'll just listen to it. Like, where you hear about the Heroes of Light, or you hear about the mad god who poisoned a city because he was bored, or you learn about the white-haired soldier who had a hissy fit and decided to turn evil. And
Pretty much.
you know, like, I don't know, there's just something about the lore of Final Fantasy that's just so amazing to listen to that I could just spend a whole day just listening to different lore videos based on Final Fantasy.
They make it so easy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, their storytelling has always been the best part about their company.
Yeah.
I mean, number 2 being their visual effects, because, dude, they have been putting out some cinematic gold since PlayStation 1 era.
Right.
But the way they're able to tell a story, it's crazy to me.
Yeah.
Now there is one question I have about Final Fantasy, and I've never really looked it up. But they're all Final Fantasy titles. Is there some kind of like timeline, or are the stories connected some way, somehow?
I don't think so. The only ones that I know for sure are connected is 10 and 10-2.
Yeah.
But from my understanding, I don't think they're connected. Like, that's why you don't hear of Sephiroth or Jenova in Final Fantasy X. Or that's why you never hear of Kefka or Garland or, any of those in later Final Fantasy games. I think the only thing that's similar with them all is the summons, and even they change from time to time.
They do.
Like, they add them, they take them away, they replace them, the whole kit and caboodle. I think the only one that's been in, like, every game is Bahamut. Or maybe Shiva and Ifrit too.
I was gonna say Ifrit's generally your first, except for 10. I mean, you get Veil for first.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I would say those 3 are in most, if not all.
Yeah. Because I was gonna say Rama as well, but he's not in 10. Because you get Ixion instead.
Yeah, correct. Yep.
So I think it's pretty safe to say that it's Bahamut, Shiva, and Ifrit are in all, if not most, of the series. And I think that's really the only, like, stable thing you have in those games that are shared throughout the games.
I mean, as far as things that I can think of, I agree. But, you know, I don't know, maybe someday they'll come out with a game where it's like the Dark Tower.
Well, I mean, you have
You know what I mean?
World of Final Fantasy, or Final Fantasy World, or whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah, there was that one.
Like, that one technically connects all the games. Because that one you can go around and you can collect shit from all the games. Or if you want to use chocobos, like, chocobos can connect all the games, because I think every game has a chocobo in it.
Yeah, there's some things, you know, I mean, little details like that, but I don't know. I've just kind of always wondered that, but really, like, looked it up or tried to do any research on it.
You know, unless the game is a direct sequel like 10 and 10 2, I think every game is its own unique story. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what we found out tonight on Unsolved Mysteries.
Dude, that show used to scare the shit out of me when I was a kid.
Tonight on Unsolved Mysteries.
Just like the creepy music and the creepy old man and
The trench coat.
yeah. And I'm talking about the original one, like not the new one that Netflix made. The original one, that shit was scary.
I was actually just talking about Tourette's guy.
Oh, really?
Have you ever seen that guy? Prime YouTube days?
Uh-uh.
You've never seen the Tourette's guy. Oh my god.
No.
That is a crying shame. I am gonna have to dig up that clip and send it to you for reference.
Okay.
That fucking guy is hilarious. But, well, I don't know. This seems like a decent place to kill it.
That it does.
We definitely had a lot to go through in such a what felt like a short amount of time tonight.
Yeah, it didn't feel like an hour and a half, but it was damn near an hour and a half.
Well, you know, get a couple of dudes that, you know, have the time to unload, and that's exactly what we're gonna do.
Right? Absolutely.
You know. But, all right. Well, I just want to say thanks everybody for tuning in this week. You know, I think we might do some other segments here, continuing off of this, because actually both Dylan and I's top picks for games that raised us tonight both have some really, really, really good points to talk about. So I think maybe here in the future you guys should be looking out for a deep dive on our two favorite video games of all time.
That'd be fun.
I think it would really be fun because you know, it's always the biggest fans of the games that you learn the coolest shit from.
Absolutely.
And let me tell you, I am going to stir some shit up whenever we talk about how Donald Duck is one of the strongest, if not the strongest person in the verse.
Zeta Flare.
Let's go. I'm ready to stir that pot for y'all.
Huh.
But with that, everybody, I think Dylan and I are going to go ahead and set to and pass for the week.
Have a good night, folks.
Toodles.